Good morning, everybody. It's Chris here from Serene Education with the 4 majors news update for the 19th of September 2013. Okay, guys, yesterday FOMC came out 7 p.m. GMT last night, and boy, did we see some action. Covering the 4 majors this morning, starting with the euro against US dollar. Let's have a look and see what actually transpired. You can see quite clearly yesterday, Bernanke took the stage, and well, we first heard that there was no tapering. They weren't going to change. The Fed wasn't going to change their stance on the tapering scenario, and subsequently we saw the US dollar taking a bit of a hit, and the euro and all its cross pairs against the US dollar rose quite steadily. We're talking about 120 to 130 pip gains within minutes, 30 minutes at least, and sure enough, the euro was one of those. Clearly a support and resistance level here, and price had been trading below that for some time, a number of days, in fact 3 days going into yesterday's announcement, and then we had the breakout. We had a breakout chart previously with momentum, however the pullback didn't stack up, and then we saw the initial outcome. It tweezed the top at a resistance level and price fell to the downside. Here, huge move, in fact actually moving higher than the weekly fib here at the 50% line, and now consolidative on the Asian session. So you can see the indicator box very much positive, R squared complementing all of that. We have 1 or 2 areas on our smaller time frames of 5 and 15 which are indecisive at that, but you can see quite clearly after yesterday's move, it's pretty much given us a scenario of what the US dollar is likely to do for the forthcoming future. Mr. Bernanke mentioned that there was not going to be any change in the tapering stance until they saw a change in unemployment or employment figures, which he concluded could take as long as, or take us up to 2016, in fact. But then again, he also mentioned that we could see a change by the end of this year. So their stance was they were looking at it until such time as they saw that the unemployment figures were down and employment figures were up, then they might look at the actual setup differently. However, until such time that happens, everything against the US dollar looks favorably or long, and here is one of them. Up, everything's looking positive. So drop down to our 4-hour time frame. Straight away we get a bar signal on our template. So for me, straight away the 50% retracement level over here at 13.4765 now becomes my overall support level. So price can pull back within this range. It's still looking positive long term because it's trading above their weekly high. Swing highs as depicted, we have seen that very strong move. Swing high, swing high, swing high, swing high. Institution below price, that's being governed here by my RMO, which is trend related. Moving average here, which is the institution, plotting the institution moving average. Everything's looking positive long term within also the intraday spec. R squared is complementing all this buying sentiment we're seeing. So look for buying opportunities, guys. Heading into Friday, 61.8 could be our long term target. However, you can see quite clearly we have consolidation. So if you drop down to an hourly chart, if you're looking for that bullish move to the upside, look for, you can quite clearly see here, a lot of indecision on the hourly, guys. So you can put a trigger alert above the current high, that yesterday's high in fact, and then look for a nice juicy candle close higher than that. That would tell you that markets are back into the buying scenario, and then we could target the upside. Sterling, here again on the daily breakout. We had a nice breakout last week, pullback and the continuation higher. Last couple of days has been indecisive as people have been pretty much waiting for this news announcement to come out, and sure enough they got the result. You'll notice that the indicator over here in particular was still telling us to buy. We had a blue arrow a couple of weeks ago, and subsequently the candles are all blue, so telling us the center was still looking long, and sure enough yesterday's news actually pushed price higher, and pushing price higher than the 78.6 now, well extended above the range. So now we should see a clear move back up to the zero line, and that zero line is our monthly fib retracement, which is our all-time highs. So where price is trading right now to that level is a healthy 228 pips and change. So 78.6 level now intraday becomes my major support level. Straight away on our 4-hour we get that buying scenario. You can see there's a lot of scope here for pullback. So we take the consolidation as our support yesterday to the current high. You can quite clearly see that the 50% retracement on this intraday time frame takes us back to that 78.6 overbought, oversold scenario. So we have this to play with. That's going to be my supportive range intraday. So this is going to be my catch, my support net. So price can pull back. And if you look at what price has been doing recently, still making swing high, swing high, swing high, swing high, swing high, swing high. And if you look at where price is, it's still got all of this to play with. And as long as it maintains above the 78.6, it's still long-term positive. RMO still very much higher, MACD very much green and red, so still looking higher. So look for consolidation highs, breakout of the prior highs yesterday in particular to see new highs being made, and look to target that 16.32.30 and change mark as our long-term target. US dollar Swiss franc, here again, Swiss franc's going to obviously come out the winner as the US dollar lost ground yesterday, and you can see that we had a tweezer top a couple of weeks ago, a full week ago, and subsequently we've seen a large drop, trading below the weekly range. Now a nice bearish engulfing candle, getting below all of this consolidation over here. In fact, you can quite clearly see a lot of consolidation under the weekly breakout. We could expect a pullback. Use the support levels over here as your pullback range. The 91.58 and change could be that exact level. RMO is below, MACD is below. Look at the indicator box. RMO trend relating, all negative. MA, institution moving average, all negative, so we know the price is trading below that level. The R squared is complementing most of that negative sentiment, and we are making lower swings. If I drop down to my 4-hour time frame, just wait for it just to refresh quickly. You can quite clearly see if I move up and move that over, so you can see the others tweeze the top highs, swing low, swing low, swing low, bang, drop lower, breaking below that major support level. Consolidative as it is, but still moving low. RMO below 4 hour. So look for targets to the downside. Our monthly and weekly here complementing each other quite nicely at the 88.29 mark. That would be our ultimate targets for the foreseeable future. We're looking at a healthy 257 pips and change. Look to see if price actually pulls back or consolidates under the 91.58. This now becomes our major resistance level or at the top. So if we do get a pullback, this level over here needs to hold price low if this is still to be a very much a negative trend. So 91.58 would be our major resistance level. She can consolidate here, pull back, etc. She'll still be making lower swings, but ultimately our long-term target until the foreseeable future would be this level down here at the 38.2 on our monthly. For this price to be positive, we need to be trading above the weekly. It's going to take a lot of momentum in the opposite direction to do that, and I don't see it coming anytime soon. Last pair of the day, US dollar Japanese yen. Moving lower. We didn't see as much movement yesterday as we saw across the other pairs, primarily because the Bank of Japan governor was speaking last night. We also had trade balance figures that came out for the Japanese market, and not as low as they forecasted. Before, the previous figure was 0.91 trillion, and the forecast was 0.83 trillion, and it came in at 0.79. So we are seeing slight contraction on that figure. And what we saw is we saw US dollar, in fact, on the Asian session moving higher after that. I think the governor Kuroda actually mentioned something, and we've seen the US dollar gain strength. And funny enough, we saw selling, but selling into the daily institution. Has it supported price previously in the past? Yes, through the latter part of August, through the early parts of August. Selling into this in a bounce, selling into it in a bounce. So we had a nice tweezer. No, this is going to be a morning star formation here at the institution. Here, a nice bullish harami, and here we could see a potential bullish harami yet again. And you can see that we are making the red arrow, red candles, RMO below, but you can see that there's a lot of buying sentiment coming through in our intraday time frames. Very indecisive on our long term, and if you look at it, we're actually pretty much squeezing within this this wedge pattern. So down to our 4-hour time frame, you can quite clearly see the institution was punched yesterday, but we're trading back up against the institution. So a lot of indecision at the moment, but you can quite clearly see over the past couple of weeks, in fact, we're still making lower lows, which is a negative signal. So for this to be a positive move for the US dollar, we do need to be trading above the current swing, which is above the 99.28 6 mark. Get above that, then we're going to be heading back into our monthly and daily fib ratio here at the 99.79 change, or the 100 mark particularly. So this particular one, very topsy-turvy. I'm not really sure about this one myself. I'll rather stick to the other three at the moment and look to trade any outcomes on that. But as it stands on the US dollar Japanese yen, very volatile, and you can see that after last night's news, well, yesterday news announcement and last night's Bank of Japan Governor Kuroda speaking, as well as the trade balance figures coming out. So ideally here, if this is to be genuine negative long term, as we've seen just shortly with price making lower swings, then price has got to fail here at the 50% retracement daily. Prior support needs to be the new resistance, the breakout, the pullback, and then the continuation drive back to these lower lows. If she gets back above this range and retests this price support and resistance level swing, then we're looking at price maintaining an indecisive role, and we could see price moving back up to to the 50% again. So here again, waiting. I've got another 11 minutes to wait for the 4-hour candle close. It's just still trading below this current price support level here and the daily fib. Then I'm expecting price just to potentially consolidate under here. But ideally, if this is to be long-term positive, I would then look to see price breaking above these current swing lows. That's it, guys. Short and sweet today. Please be aware that we have a lot of news out for Swiss. We had the Libor rate that's just come out now, unchanged. We also have the monetary policy assessment figure coming out, which is a 10-cent figure coming out 8:30 onwards. We have the retail sales month-to-month figures for the UK market coming out at 9:30 GMT, which is going to be an important one. They're expecting a slight contraction on that figure, to be honest. It was 1.1% previously. They're expecting 0.4%, so a huge drop there in terms of the actual retail figures. However, the industrial order expectation figures for sterling coming at 11 a.m. GMT this morning is for a positive one. Previous figure was 0. The forecast is for 2, so we're expecting a slightly higher ratio, which is a positive ratio to the upside. And if that does come out 2 or higher, we could expect sterling to rally even further, to gain further ground against the US dollar. Sterling is looking very, very positive over the past couple of months, and it's making higher highs. It's reaching higher, and I don't see expecting it to slow down anytime soon. This afternoon, we have a lot of news out for the US market in particular. We have unemployment claims, but before we get to that, we have Canadian wholesales. The wholesale sales month-to-month figures, and expecting a positive one. And then we have the unemployment claims coming out at 1:30 GMT. Plus, we have existing home sales figures coming out, and then we have the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index. Very, very important one from 3 p.m. onwards this afternoon GMT. So a lot of news out for the US market after Bernanke yesterday. Could we see a slight consolidation if these figures come out positive? Just a knee-jerk reaction. If they come out negative, then we're going to see further negativity and strength against the cross-pairs against the US dollar. If you're using this template and any of these Serene Education templates, please back it up with sound money management, guys. Very, 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 very important. Got to have sound money management rules. Got to have a plan. Get out of jail plan. And that comes in your money management. You might have the best template in the world. Our template certainly works, but you've got to back it up with very, very strong money management rules. Other than that, keep it as simple as possible. If you have any queries regarding any of our templates, you want to get involved, etc., please look at the link, the email link at the end of this video for further information. Otherwise, have a fantastic trading day today, and I will catch you guys first thing tomorrow morning. Until then, you guys trade serenely.